We're back for Your Ears Only. I'm Eddie Robinson.
I'm David Alpern with this quote from the news. If Theo was a Theo, I wouldn't have had to pay. That was 83-year-old Edith Windsor after winning a federal court decision that the Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional because the law against gay marriage forced her to pay $563,000 in federal and state inheritance taxes after the death of the woman she legally married in Canada years before. Now this.
Europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium.
Vanadium truly is a green metal. If you use as little as 0.1 or 0.2% vanadium content in your steel, you actually increase its strength by 50 to 100%. And that allows you to use 30% less steel in your structure, yet you maintain its integrity. This means you actually are using less iron ore, less energy, even less steel mills, making not only a cost-effective solution, but you're actually saving the environment.
For Harvard mathematician turned madcap music maker Tom Lehrer, vanadium was just a lesser-known element to fit into one of his complex rhyme schemes. For Bill Radvak, CEO of the American Vanadium Corporation, it's a national treasure. Beyond making steel stronger, cheaper, and greener, it can also be used in giant liquid batteries to hold and release energy created by alternative power sources like wind farms and solar panels. And the best part is, there's a healthy supply here in the USA.
Radvak made a pitch for his product and processes last week to the New York Society of Security Analysts' 12th Annual Metals and Mining Industry Conference, and he joins us now for Your Ears Only. Mr. Radvak, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Where are the deposits of vanadium that your company is working with, and how large are they?
Well, we have the largest and only deposit in the United States. It's centered right in the middle of Nevada. It can supply about 5% of the world of vanadium for a number of years, and more importantly, about 25% of the United States needs, which currently imports from countries like Venezuela, China, Russia, and South Africa.
So what's the method of extraction and the environmental impact?
Well, most importantly, we've been able to come up with a new, really low-impact method that is called heap leach mining, heap leach process using sulfuric acid. So we don't have a big tailings pond. And because of the project itself, it's a very low strip ratio, so we don't have a big pit, we don't have a big dump either.
What would an ounce of vanadium sell for compared with coal or oil or even gold for that matter?
Well, it's probably the best comparison, more like copper. Vanadium pentoxide is sold by the pound. It's about $7 a pound, whereas copper is more the $3 to $4 range.
And how large is the demand for vanadium now in the U.S. and globally, especially in energy-hungry China?
Well, probably most importantly is the demand is increasing. In your introduction there, everybody's seeing the strategic opportunity of vanadium allows for decrease in the use of iron ore, decrease in the use of all the environmental impacts and such. So the actual specific use of vanadium is going up quite dramatically, well ahead of GDP.
And how important is it to the United States that we do have a supply of our own?
Well, it's probably not so important today, but that's what's changing is China now has implemented part of their 12th five-year plan last year was phasing out rebar. That's the old, big, large, high carbon content rebar. Now that sounds like a simple little code change, but they make 140 million tons of rebar a year. So that code change, moving to high-strength, low-alloy steel, which requires vanadium, is supposed to increase the global demand by 20 to 40%. So that's going to put huge pressure on the global markets.
Talk about vanadium's special properties and advantages for storing energy compared with the lithium-ion batteries we know from our computers and cell phones.
Yeah, this is where we can play a really important role, especially in the United States. That the analysts and even Lux Research just put out a little report last month. Lithium-ion now is about 80% of the mass storage market. We're not talking about sort of the car batteries or cell batteries, but these mass storage, grid-level storage batteries. It's about 80%, but it's forecast to get down to well below 20% within 5 years. While vanadium flow batteries are sort of at a 0 point now, they're just going commercial, but expect to be the leader within 5 years, over 30%, because it has remarkable scalable properties. It's actually a much more electrical reaction than chemical. That means they can discharge 10,000, 20,000 times. So instead of that sort of 5-year, 7-year mine life or life of the battery for lithium-ion, these batteries can go up to 20 years, and a full 90% charge-discharge. So they're really the true scalable mass storage option probably for the next sort of 8-10 years.
But these are mass storage for the entire grid. I mean, these are not vanadium is not going to be substituted in our personal devices. I mean, they're big sort of liquid pits, I gather. Explain how that works.
Yeah. I mean, it is really a unique metal, vanadium. And basically it's a metal that's the only metal when you have it in solution, when you pass it over an electrode, you change the ionic state. And not to get too technical, but what that allows you to do is manipulate the ions up and down repeatedly and allow you to use to store energy. But you have to have a tremendous amount of vanadium, which is important to us. And but the bigger the tanks of this solution with sulfuric acid with vanadium in it, the more you store. But there's even companies in Asia that are actually planning. Their business plan is to make these vanadium flow batteries for the home use, so that you take power off the grid at night when it's available and use it, in the late afternoon when you're starting to cook, when the power is more expensive. So it goes anywhere from the home right to manufacturing plants, right to grid level storage.
And what was the reaction to your presentation before the security analyst last week, as best as you can tell?
Well, so we have to do the follow-up because it just happened. But must say, you usually judge your presentation by the number and quality of questions. And I think by far, since I joined the company 2.5 years ago, it was the smartest, toughest questions I've heard. So they definitely tuned in and are seeing the strategic opportunity because we don't want to be a mining company. Our goal here is to help create the vanadium flow battery business in the United States and use our product not for steel. The best use for us, the best use for the United States is to build these mass storage batteries. And that's a job we've taken on, is help create that by looking to partner with the battery technology companies.
Bill Radvak is CEO of the American Vanadium Corporation.
Quote from the news, "It was one frenzy after one elation, after one enthusiasm, after one hysteria, after another." That was science fiction master Ray Bradbury on the youthful eagerness he maintained throughout a long, prolific career, including The Martian Chronicles, Fahrenheit 451, and Something Wicked This Way Comes. He died last week at the age of 91.
Next, Jewish roots of American music, from Rodgers and Hart to rock and roll, for your ears only.